Greetings, fellow IJA members. Spring's arrived, and our May 9th event in Springfield is just around the corner. We are joined today by the man I asked to spearhead and co-chair the planning for this event over a year ago, my good friend John Cody. Welcome, John, and please tell us a little bit about yourself as far as your judicial career, where you served and when, and also your time as president of the Illinois Judges Association.
Sure, David, and Justice Overstreet, but you are my friend and been a friend for many years, and I appreciate that friendship. And I'll join you in the excitement for the May 9th event, by the way, and we have a committee that's excited, and maybe we can give them some recognition as well. Sure, my career, I'm from Taylorville. Taylorville's in the 4th Circuit. Went to Taylorville High School, undergrad at Illinois, went to law school at Ohio State, but Justice, the blood runs orange and blue. I'm an Illini through and through. Married a wonderful gal, Kathy, from here in Taylorville, and serves public defender and private practice and state's attorney, and then associate judge, appointed circuit judge, and elected, and 22 years on the bench. And during that time, had 3 wonderful kids. They're married now. We have 9 grandchildren. Kathy and I still live here in Taylorville, try to see the grandchildren as much as we can. Done some community college teaching because I've been retired for 15 years now. And besides community college teaching, mediation work as well, and some other volunteer activities with the retirees group for the state of Illinois that Rudy Kink's a part of, and then some boards for the University of Illinois. But among those activities was a year as president of IJA, and it was wonderful. We had a wonderful board and wonderful officers, and I tell you what, it's, as you know, you just never know what issues are going to pop up. Sometimes the legislature is up to shenanigans, and other times there's litigation going on. I remember that being a large part of it, but there was this spirit of wanting to serve judges. And during my year, but it's been through a lot of years, security became a big issue. And so we focused a lot of attention on that. Security, not just for the judges in the courtroom, but also for judges at home and for their families. And I still get calls from time to time about judges who have security questions. I got one about 3 weeks ago about a daughter who was getting a threat as a result of the judge's service. And because of some of the seminars materials we put out, we're able to get them directed to the places that can help. So yeah, it's just a privilege to be a judge. It certainly was a privilege to serve as an officer of the Illinois Judges Association.
Well, thank you for your service in the past and your present service with this planning of this event, among other things. Why don't you tell us a little bit about what's coming up on May the 9th?
I'd be glad to. It's really in 2 parts. There's morning activities and there's afternoon activities. And I'd encourage folks to, if they're not interested in one or the other, you don't have to sign up for everything. Kathy has drafted this page on the IJA website that you can pick and choose what you'd enjoy doing. The morning, that emerges from you reaching out to the Retired Judges Committee. And you were aware that the Retired Judges Committee for years has put on an event. And initially, it seemed like it was every other year. But lately, and partly due to the popularity of it, it's become annual. This will be the 4th year in a row. And you suspected, correctly so, that one was being planned for this spring. So you inquired as to whether the retired judges would be interested in having their event on the same day and in the same locale as your event in the afternoon. And the Retired Judges Committee, I put in extra effort to make this special. And I'm anxious to tell more details about it, but first the overview. In the morning, we're having the retired judges presentation of benefits, and then it's followed by Terry Hake, a former prosecutor involved with Graylord. The afternoon is your event, and there's lunch in between, but It starts at 1:30, and John Lupton is going to speak on the judicial independence of the state of Illinois, and then that's followed by tours of the Supreme Court building, and then there's a reception and more details about that. So now some more details about the morning. The morning is going to begin at 9:30, and it's going to be held at the Illinois State Library. All these functions are within about a block and a half of each other within the state of Illinois complex there in our capital in Springfield. And at 9:30, Mark Van de Wiele, after you're welcome to the group, is going to address benefits and pension solvency. Benefits can take on a lot of forms, and Mark is going to be primarily talking about the pension and the solvency. But over the years, I want to encourage those retired judges that haven't attended our seminars to consider it. Benefits can go a lot of different directions. Healthcare is always big, and healthcare, of course, involves medical and drug-related matters, but also dental and the vision aspects to it too. And issues arise. You wouldn't necessarily think that costs are a big thing because we supposedly have health insurance that covers most things, but I think our brothers and sisters in the 70s and 80s, they did get, if not 100%, close to 100% paid. That's not true so much anymore. Even though the state can't charge us premiums, there are still costs like co-pays, things like that. And there are changes. And at times, what we address during these seminars is the change of the insurance company, because who the administrator is can make a big difference. Some of our retired judges keep the same insurance they had because of their age. They're not Medicare eligible that they had when they were on the bench. Others have Medicare and a supplement. Most of us, though, have Medicare Advantage, which includes a supplement. And sometimes there are changes about those. And so this year, Mark Van de Wiele, for those that have heard him, know how gifted he is in explaining things. Mark just has a grasp of sometimes complex retirement issues. So Mark's going to talk about the pension, financial security. He's going to talk about solvency. Between now and then, if the legislature should be proposing something, I suspect Mark will address that too. Mark will begin at 9:30, and his remarks should be done by about 10. And then we'll move into Terry Hake's presentation. Terry Hake is an individual, really, it took courage for what he did. Those of our age, when we hear Graylord, we immediately know what that all involved in Cook County with corruption in the court system. And Terry Hake agreed as a prosecutor to go undercover with the FBI in their investigation of the corruption in the Cook County court system. And as a result of his work and some others, several trials took place. In fact, Terry Hake testified at 23 of the trials. And he later went to work for the FBI and for the Justice Department. But he has the insider's knowledge of what happened with Graylord. And those have heard his talks. And in fact, I've got some notes here from the last time he spoke for ISBA. And you know that comments are made after these presentations, but my goodness, jaw-dropping telling of a horrendously dark time for American jurisprudence. Excellent overview of Graylord investigation. Must see for all Illinois lawyers and judges. What a history lesson. Fascinating, coming from someone who actually has firsthand knowledge. Everyone should view this. And Justice, what we try to do, the retired judges, now we're talking about the morning, we try to always fashion programs that there is interest, not just for the retired judge, but also for the spouses or partners. And if there's ever been a program, I think it's this one that we have May 9th. with Mark Vanderweely talking about about benefits, pensions in particular, and then what Terry Hake has to talk about as well, but not just retired judges. He's so interesting that we hope that sitting judges, and it's amazing how quickly some of the historic lessons get forgotten. I was with some new judges, admittedly they were late 30s, 40s, and several of those had never heard of Greylord. That's unthinkable in my generation, but there's so many lessons for judges and really all citizens to learn from what happened in Greylord. So that's the morning, 9:30. Mark, 10 o'clock, Terrence Hake, there'll be a break, and then lunch is free. All the events we're going to talk about today are free. It's a box lunch, and then we move to the afternoon. And and Justice, I'll go ahead and give details, but this is your program, and so please feel free to jump in and add. And but I will say that you chose John Lupton to be your featured speaker, and I've heard John speak several times, and he's just excellent. I mean, he's a guy that's written scores of articles. I know he's written parts of books. I think he's written books as well. He's been an executive producer for documentaries. He has such a historical knowledge of the courts, and for that matter, the individuals in the courts. And
He is I might also add, John, he's a Lincoln handwriting expert.
is that right? Yeah.
One of
Well, it doesn't
just a few in the
surprise me. And his topic is, as you requested, judicial pendants in Illinois. And I know he's already began his remarks. He probably didn't have to write much because he knows it off the top of his head. But he's going to be in the Supreme Court room. That's where the afternoon begins, in the Supreme Court courtroom. And that too, just like the morning activities, it'll be excellent for all judges, sitting judges and retired judges, but also their spouses and partners. And I think they'll just find John's remarks fascinating. And then that's going to be followed by court tours, the Supreme Court building tours. Supreme Court staff will be conducting those, and I think John's going to be a part of that. And the committee requested you, and I think that you've told us that it's going to be granted. A lot of us that have been in the legal field, and those of us in the judiciary as well, know that you members of the Supreme Court have living quarters in the building, that when you go for the terms in Springfield, you live in the building. And we're intrigued what that residence might look like. And is it accurate that you've obtained for us at least limited access during the tours so we can take a look at that?
Yes, and certainly the tours are welcome to stop by my room. Actually, I'm in my room in Springfield right now.
Oh, we're getting a little mini tour then.
And I'll actually be meeting with John Lupton after we get off of our vlog here today, and we'll be talking about the program. But yes, we do have living quarters here when we're in term, and we will have some access. You can come by my room, and perhaps some other justices will be around that day as well. And so we welcome you, all of our members and their guests, to the Supreme Court building, and also be able to see the third floor.
Allow me to ask you a question. The physical situation of housing then in Springfield for the Supreme Court justices, does that lend to a kind of collegiality, a camaraderie that otherwise wouldn't exist? What's your thoughts on that?
Absolutely. We are the only state, to my knowledge, where the court lives together during term in the building, in the courthouse. And we have our meals together, and certainly, and I've talked about this before, how we come from different parts of the state, we have different backgrounds, but the collegiality is top notch. We work very well together. We like each other, and I think that creates a better work environment for all the people of Illinois. So
excellent.
It's
so maybe we should make that recommendation of the United States Supreme Court, but we'll do that for another time. Well, the tours are followed perhaps by the highlight of today's activities, and that's the tent reception. And perhaps this is a time for us to recognize what an immense help the Illinois State Bar Association has been with all the day's activities. In particular, Bob Craighead, the executive director, has been working with us, and Jeannie Heaton, the director of continuing legal education. Jeannie's always assists the retired judges with our CLEs. In fact, the Judge Association gave her award, not this last year, it was 2 years ago, but it was well-deserved for all the effort that she puts in to help us. And she's helped us this year, but she's gone beyond. She's helped us with some of the afternoon activities, and Bob has too. And the tent for the reception is going to be on the Illinois State Bar Association parking lot. Again, all part of this complex. And the things that are planned for the reception are food. In fact, it's a barbecue with all those kinds of foods that go with the barbecue, and also beverages, and we're going to have music, and we're trying to make it special for people and encourage them to come. And it's going to be a time for just judges to interact, and for retired judges, and we hope they'll stay the whole day. It's great seeing the old men and women who were brothers and sisters on the bench at the same time and kind of went through the same trials, but also victories. I'll say it's just a good time to reconnect, but for the sitting judges too. And I said we needed to recognize the help that ISBA has given. I also want to list those committee members that we've been working with. Every member of this committee is distinguished, and we'll head off with retired Justice Lloyd Carmeier. What a positive influence he is in activities like this. You have on your committee retired judge and former IJA president Carol Pope, and former judge and IJA president Ron Spears. Ron and I stay in contact, and he gives me information. He's also a big-time mediator. Many of our meetings he has been able to attend, but he's been helping from the sidelines. Current judge and IJA secretary Julie Katz. We have one of the retired judges co-committee chairs, Don Bernardi. He's on the committee. Judge April Tremper. Retired Judge Jim McGing. Kathy also attends all of our meetings, as well as Bob and Jeannie. So we have a distinguished group, a group that's willing to work and full of ideas, and they are, I think, as excited as you and I are.
I can't thank the team enough, and I thank you for mentioning all of their names. This has been an effort that is, again, we've been in the planning stages for a year now, and just great people to work with, and I just can't tell you how excited I am for this event coming up. You know, you can register. I know March 25th, an email reminder went out, and Kathy Hosty will continue sending those. You can actually go to the IJ website now and find information on how to register for the event. I encourage you to do that now, and you know, like John said, it's free, but we need you to register so we know how many people are coming. The again, this bringing the retired judges together and all of our current judges together. This has been a dream of mine since, you know, I was getting ready to assume the presidency of the IJA, and it's a good way to wrap up our celebration of judicial independence. By the way, the live music you mentioned, the Johnny Conqueroo Band. It's a local Springfield band that a friend told me about. So looking forward to hearing their music as well. And it's going to be a great time. John, I want to thank you for everything you've done, my friend, and And it's been a pleasure working with you and everyone else on this event. And I appreciate your encouragement to me along the way and helping me become an officer. And now here we are at the end of that for the IJ. So thank you so much for everything.
We find ourselves in April, so I can congratulate you, I suppose, on a wonderful tenure as president, because it's drawing to a close here soon. It won't be long. Excellent work, David. Justice, David. So, yeah.
It's been a privilege, and I want to quote my friend John as I close here today, and I wish blessings on all of our members, and I look forward to seeing a few of you at EdCon here in a week, and I hope a few of you on May the 9th as well.
Amen. Thank you. Blessings. Bye.